Good day, everyone, and you are welcome to class today. Remain myself, Abdullah Bankole. Um, you are welcome to our Power BI weekly session, um, which is this session is the second session of the second phase, and tonight we are about to make things quick. That's what we're going to be doing tonight. Um, First of all, for those of us who are online right now, can anybody type in where they're joining us from right now? I just want to do a survey. Just type in where you're joining us from. If you're joining us from Lagos, Nigeria, let me see Lagos, Nigeria. If you're joining from Canada, China, Kenya, Zimbabwe. Okay, I can see Lagos, Nigeria. Perfect. Yes, I can see. Nice one. I have Lagos, Nigeria, Lucknow, India, Lagos, Nigeria. Okay. Wow, like the Lagosians are taking the class today. Abeokuta, Nigeria. Wonderful, wonderful. That's good. Enugu, nice. Oluchi from Enugu, nice. Okay, perfect. That's good. I think it's good to have everybody. It's good to have everybody here. So now I want you, if you know you did the assignment that I gave earlier, and you submitted the screenshot, I want you to put AS assignment and screenshot in the chat box. Let me see. Let me see. You did the assignment, you did the screenshot, you sent it to the group. Just put AS in the chat box. Really? Yes, good. Yes, nice one, nice one. Michael, you're putting a side emoji there, don't put it. Yes, shout out to everybody. Yeah, Oluchi, Joel, Martha, Michael, Promise, Abdullah. Good. Now it's good to see that a lot of us actually attempted the assignment, and I'm really happy to also see quite a lot of people from around the world: Lagos, Abuja, Enugu, India, Kenya, Zimbabwe, everywhere. It's good to have everybody with us in class today. So last Thursday we broke a flat table. We discussed about a flat table and we found 7 problems that were hiding inside of that flat table. So tonight we are going to take it another step. We are going to start building the model. Now that model that we are building goes like we are building the model that fixes all the problems that we have itemized in in the last session. So by the end of tonight, everybody we're all going to know how to connect tables in Power BI. We're going to know exactly why your visuals go blank when things are not connected properly. We're going to know how to convert a big flat table into smaller tables. So we're going to be doing all that tonight. Yes, so let's go in. So what are we doing today? First, I'm going to use around 10 minutes to discuss about the assignment, right? We're going to be discussing about um, what went right and the submissions everybody made. We're going to talk about them. Then we're going to go into the types of relationships that we have. There are three, and I need every one of us to actually know all of them. We are going to build the table from scratch. The 3 tables that we had built that I to give assignment on, I'm going to do everything from scratch. And then if there's still more time, I'm going to give a competition for everybody to do. And so don't worry, I'm going to just this is what you're going to be covering. Um, this is what we're going to be covering tonight. Okay, somebody saying they can't see my screen. Is it only you or others too can't see my screen? So I know what's going on. Martha can see my screen. If you can see my screen, let me see SS in the chat box. Promise can see my screen. Mr. Michael, I think it's the network at your area. So, sorry, throw away that your green thing and go and buy yellow or red. It's much better for you. So let's go. So this is what we're going to be doing, like I said earlier, and let's move. Let's move. We have time is way behind us. So let's start with the assignment first. So The assignment was actually good. I was happy to see quite a lot of us submitting. I really appreciate, like, whenever I give assignment and I see people even attempting it, it actually, this joy ruminates inside of me, and I'm so happy, and I celebrate everybody that actually try to work on it and do the assignment. I really need to give a big shout out to everybody who posted this assignment, and I saw the submissions, and I can say that we all tried. We got everything almost almost right. So this is everything that, if you look at it, you can see we have asked to split the tables into three tables, right? And majority of what you have sent, everybody actually identified exactly the three tables: the sales table, the product table, and the customer. You knew which columns belong to which column belonged to which table. You understood that the customer color information should not be repeated in every row. You understood that the product information should be separate and all of this, right? Now, all that you have said, they're actually correct. But there was one thing that was really missing in the assignment. That's the only one thing. And I don't think anybody actually did it. And that is the fact that all of us did not add any form of ID, and each table you had was correct, but none of them had a proper ID that allows you to link that big table to the smaller table. And without that ID, or as you're going to see the original name of that ID, right, Power BI will not be able to know which is which and what is what. And that is exactly what we are trying to fix this night. That's exactly what we are going to be doing tonight. Are you following? So if you look at our tables from the assignment, yes, we have sales, we have products, we have customers, right? We should ask ourselves that how does Power BI know which customer goes with which sale when we have splitted? How does it make that connection? Can anybody give it a try? Can anybody just tell me in the comments what they think is supposed to happen? Anybody? How Power BI would know that, oh, this customer is the one that made this sales, or this product was what the customer bought or in this sale? Any idea? Nobody? Nobody knows.
Sorry, I didn't get the question, Mr. Bankole.
The question is, if you look at our table, you know we are split already into sales, product, and customer ID, right? So how does Power BI know which customer goes with which sales? How does it make that connection?
There should be a connecting column in the different tables, but there was not.
There was not. Hmm. Okay. Somebody is saying PK and FK, which is primary key and foreign key. Exactly what I'm about to hear, right? So, and it's just part of this ID problem that are going to that are going to do it, that are going to be fixing. And this night we're also going to be learning how to create all these IDs and everything, and make sure that none of them is what none of them actually breaks. So the tables, like I said earlier, the tables are correct, but none of them have the ID column. So, and without a customer ID or a product ID, Power BI has no clean way to connect these tables. So even if you build a relationship, it will still be very, very what? Very, very fragile. So for example, we have customer name. Customer name is just a name of a customer. Name can change. More than one person can have the same, two people or three people, 10 people can have the same name. Names can have typographical errors. Name can have spaces that you cannot see. But when you say customer one is Abdullah Bankole, unless nothing will happen, nothing will change customer one from being Abdullah Bankole. And that is the type of link that makes our relationship bulletproof. So tonight, our data set which we're going to be building, we're going to be splitting that very big data set. We're going to be doing all of that into smaller tables in Power BI. But before we go into all of that, we need to understand some things word for word, especially two major things. And what are those two things we need to build, we need to have in our mind right now? The first is the primary key, and the second is the foreign key. So you see, these two concepts actually are the foundation of everything modeling. Anything modeling, this is the concept. Now let me ask anybody, has anybody had the term primary key before? If you have had the term primary key or foreign key before, let me see Y in the chat box. And if you have not heard of it before, let me see N in the chat box. Y or N in the chat box. Let's see. Who has heard about primary key? Okay, I can see. Good. I can see Babayemi, Chukudi, Promise. They've heard of primary and foreign keys. Gladys has never heard of it before. Martha has heard of it before. Okay, good. Now, let's talk about this. This is why we are here actually. Now, I know most of you that have heard it, you've heard about it maybe while you were doing probably SQL, right? I'm very sure it is going to be an SQL class or databases. And I'm very sure that some of us, as I've seen, that some of us are also hearing it for the first time. Yes. And obviously, it is the reason we are here today to make sure that you understand this concept. So, what is a primary key and what is a foreign key? So, I've tried to list both of them side by side. So, a primary key basically is a is a column in a table that uniquely identifies every single row in the table. So no two rows in that table can have the same value. So for example, if I asked you when you were in the university, there was something that was peculiar to everybody that only you and only you has, even though all the students in the university has that same thing, but only you have your own and you don't even say it anyhow anywhere. Can anybody tell me what that is? Whether you're in the university, polytechnic, any college of education,
Your age number. Your age number.
some people call it reg number, some people call it matriculation number. What else? Some people call it student ID. Yes, you see that thing, that is an example of a primary key, right? It is a unique identifier of records in a table. Each and every one of them is going to be unique. You can have the same person known as Babayemi Michael in the same class. Eh? Babayemi Michael, Babayemi Michael. Three people can raise up that, so I'm Babayemi Michael, me I'm from Ogbomoso. I'm Babayemi Michael, me I'm from Oshogbo. Me I'm Babayemi Michael, I'm from Ekpe, Lagos. How come all of you are Babayemi Michael? That is why you can't use name as an identifier. You use what? Primary keys. And in the university case, they've said, okay, let us use the what? Let us use the matriculation number. Are you following? Also, let us take it as a broader look. For those of us that are from Nigeria, we have something called the National Identification Number, NIN, isn't it? Every Nigerian that's registered on that platform will have a unique NIN. No two people will share an NIN. That is a primary key. Another example, should I keep going on or will you give me examples of other primary keys? I want you to give me examples of other primary keys that you know of. Based on those two things I've said, the other one should be coming in your mind. Let me see it in the chat box.
Phone number.
Phone number, yes. Which other one? Although I don't like phone number, let me quickly say it here. Phone number is good when it was earlier. But recently, majority of these telecommunication companies are beginning to sell phone numbers of some people to other people because maybe somebody is dead or they're not using the number for a certain number of time, they will resell it. So I don't usually allow phone number again in my class as an example. Yes, BVN, bank verification number, correct. Voters card number, correct. Your staff ID, yes. TIN, that's the tax identification number, yes, correct. Your car plate number, very, very correct. Your passport number, correct. Your social security number, correct. Your visa ID, correct. See, you can see that if I keep going, you are seeing that a lot of primary keys are just sitting with each and every one of us. All of you, you all have one primary. In fact, at least everybody should have at least almost 10 or 20 primary keys that is attached to them. Personally, talk more of every other thing. You're smiling. Only you. Okay, let's give an example. Abdullah Bankole. Obviously, first of all, I'm a Nigerian, right? I'm going to have an NIN. I operate in the banking system of Nigeria. I have a BVN. The different banks I'm working with, let's assume all of the banks are one. I have a bank account number. Account number. That's another primary key. That's three. I've merged all my accounts into one, so I call it bank account number. That's three. Now, um, I went to university, isn't it? And I had a matric number. In fact, I went to two universities. Lado Capital University and Federal University of Technology, Minna. Right? Two, but I'll merge it as one. Should we continue? Now, I have my international passport. That is five. Should I continue? Then my passport, there's a visa on it. The visa has a card on it. That is six. I was paying tax in Nigeria. That is seven. I had a team. I was paying into the Lagos State IRS, LIRS. That is eight. My birth certificate has a birth certificate number. That is nine. No, I don't have that. You can't have that. I'm not a citizen of that country, so I don't have that one. So you can see I've just gotten to nine. NYC number, thank you. That is 10. You can see that's just only me. I can if you all think about it, I was a staff in a company, 11. You can see how deep it is going. That is for unique identification and to make sure that no two people have the same exact number. And that is how it goes, not just for people now, for products, for transactions, for all the things that we are tracking in a what? In a company, they are all going to have a primary key. So for example, if you look at the example on the screen, I give an example of products. We would have product 1 as iPhone 15, product 2 as Samsung Galaxy A55, product 3 as Tecno Camon 20. So we don't need to be repeating iPhone 15, Galaxy Kinicon or Tecno Camon. No, we'll just be calling on the prod 1, prod 2, prod 3, which is because that as we have given that as the what? As the primary key, as the unique identifier. So anywhere we see prod 1, what do we know? We know it as iPhone 15. Anywhere we see prod 2, we know it as Samsung Galaxy A55. Anywhere we see prod 3, we know it as what? Tecno Camon what? Camon 20. That is a primary key. Before I go further, do you understand the concept of primary key now? So one thing about primary key before I conclude is that primary keys does not allow duplicates. So in the table where you have a primary key, where you have a table, you say in this table, this is the primary key. That primary key will not appear more than once. It will all be unique all around. And it does not have null value. Null value means missing. It does not have null value and it does not have missing. That is what a primary key is. So, do we understand all that, everybody? If you understand what primary key is, can I see PK in the chat box? Let me see PK in the chat box if you understand what primary keys are now. PK in the chat box. Good, nice. I can see. Keep it coming. Let's keep it coming. PK, PK. Good, good, good. Now, to the other side of that table. To the other side is the foreign key. So the foreign key is actually a primary key from another table that is living inside that table. The foreign key is a what? Is a primary key of one table living inside another table. That is what? That is a foreign key. That is a foreign key. So the foreign key is what? The presence of the primary key of another table inside the table. When I got to the country I am right now, they call me what? A foreigner. Why am I called a foreigner? Is because this is not my father's land. I was a Nigerian, or I am a Nigerian rather, and because I left Nigeria where I was a primary citizen, I left Nigeria to the country I am right now. I became a what? A foreign citizen. I became a foreigner. Do you understand that concept? That is what foreign keys are. You have your own country where you are the lord, you are everything. But immediately you move from that place to another place, you became a what? You become a foreigner. And that is what these tables are talking about. So for example, in the product table, you are going to have product ID as the primary key. Now in your sales table, right? In your sales table, if product id is now showing in your sales table, product id is now going to be what? Is now going to be a foreign key, and it is the presence of the primary and foreign key that allows us to be able to merge, to be able to connect these tables together. Are you following me? So it's just saying that, oh, product ID 1 is showing in your sales. But for us to know the name of that product, we need to connect product ID 1 directly back to the what? To the product table. And that is how primary and foreign key connect together. Are you following me? In the last class, we discussed about fact and dimension tables. Now, majority of the time, in fact, most of the time, our primary keys are majorly inside our what? Inside our dimension table. You remember dimension table? I told you dimension tables are tables that are qualitative in nature. They give a description of everything that we have in the fact table. The fact table is transactional in nature. The fact table is quantitative in nature. Are you following? So inside the fact table, majority of the columns you are going to see in your fact table are going to be what? Foreign keys. Your fact table can have its own primary key, but majority of the columns you are going to be seeing there are foreign keys. Are you following? So your primary keys lives on the dimension table and your foreign key lives in the fact table, and then we match them together. So the matching together is now what connects the dimension table to the what? To the fact table. So if you understand what foreign keys are, now can I see FK in the chat box? So that way I know we've understood that concept, primary keys and foreign keys. So we understood what foreign keys are now. Can I see FK in the chat box? Okay, good to see that we are getting it. Promise, Emmanuel, Chukudi, Gladys, nice. Now, that is what that is about that. Now, how do we now connect these things together? We need to understand that there are some things called relationships in Power BI. In fact, in modeling, in relationships. Are you following? We have three major types of relationships in where? In, in Power BI. So now, for me to explain these relationships, right, I'm going to use a form of a scenario for each one of them. Now, for example, every employee in a company has exactly one human resources record. One employee, one record. One record, one employee. In that case, there is one here and there's another one here. One, one. That is one to one. So if you look at it, I said we have three types of relationships. The first one is the one-to-one relationship. The second one is the one-to-many relationship. And the third one is many-to-many relationship. Right? So the one-to-one relationship is that first scenario I gave, where we have every row in table A has an exact match in table B, one to one. Employee and maybe employee benefits. We use this very, very rarely because those two tables that have one to one relationship, we can easily match them together. Are you with me? Then the next one that we have is the what? Is the one to many, one to star, which is one row in the dimension table matching many rows in the fact table. This is the gold standard for the star schema. That is, every dimension to fact relationship should be around one to many. So an example can be in our Naija phone shop, it sells 12 phone models. Now, each model appears in hundreds of sales. In fact, iPhone 15 alone can have around 400 transactions, isn't it? That is iPhone 15, 1 to 400 transactions, many. Are you following? That is this. So this one to many is usually the most common type of what? Of relationship that we do what? That we have. Then we have the third one, which is many to many. Now you can see, if you look at it, I put a color code when I'm doing the slide. It was intentional so that you know which one is danger. I don't need to tell you which one is danger. You already know yourself that this one is danger. So let's talk about many to many. Many to many means multiple row on this side is matching multiple row on this side. Which means Power BI is allowing it to do what? To collect plenty in this side to plenty in this side. It makes sense, but then it will give you lot of error. So the solution we usually do from experience as a database, as a BI developer, is to create a bridge table between this many to many, so that you have something like many to one, one to many, and that's the best solution. So what is a scenario for this? A scenario can be that we have a product. A product can be supplied by multiple suppliers, and each of those supplier can supply multiple products. Shall I come again? A product can be supplied by multiple suppliers to the Naija phone shop, and each of those people that are supplying the phone can supply multiple products. Okay, Apple now, they will supply their iPhone 16 Pro Max. Apple will also supply their what? Their USB-C cable. Apple will also supply their what's it called? Their AirPod, right? Apple will also supply the AirPod Pro. Apple will also supply the iWatch, isn't it? Plenty things that Apple will supply. Samsung do the same thing, isn't it? Samsung will also do what? Samsung will also do the same thing, and it will go on and on and on like that. I hope you are following, everybody. Are we following? So the best thing to do is to do what? Is to make sure that you don't do what? You do not try as much as possible to avoid the what? The many to many relationship. Try as much as possible to avoid the many to many what? Many to many relationship. Try as much as possible to avoid the many to many relationship. So any questions so far? Are we following? If you are following, can I see FF in the chat box? Okay, so a quick question. A star schema, true or false now? A star schema should only be built on a one-to-many relationship. True or false? Comment section. A star schema should only be built on a one-to-many relationship. True or false? Okay, I can see one false, two truth, truth. Okay, the person that said false has not said truth. Okay, good. True, 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 true. Perfect. So the most important thing that we should all know is that what? One to many, one to many, one to many. Are you following? This is what is going to make your what? Your modeling life as easy as possible. Now, the next part, the big boy, filter context. Now, this filter context is a concept. Pay attention. Oh. The filter context is a what? Is a concept. Are you following? So you in your mind, what I want you to think in your mind is, I'm going to be talking about filtering, but in your mind you're going to be thinking about flow. Think about what flow. What flows? Water. Good. Water flows. Are you following? So let's say water is flowing from one table to another. Why are we talking about filter context or filter direction? We should understand that our relationships have a direction. Remember earlier we said one to many, many to many. The way we have one to many, we also have the other side of it, which is many to one. Aha! So you need to understand that flow. That if it can go back and forth, it can go forth, it can also go back. So Relationship have a direction, and that direction matters more than you realize. For example, if you look at this single direction that I have here, which is the best way for you to succeed in data modeling, you have your product that is connecting to your what? To your facts. One side to the many side, which is one to many, which means your filter can flow from product into sales. Your slicer can use the product name in your product table to filter what we have in the sales side. That is what? That is one to many. That is the direction, single direction. The next one is, or let me go further into this single direction. So when I say the arrow goes from product table into sales table, what I'm saying is, for example, if you pick a slicer on your product table and you select iPhone 15, that filter will move from iPhone 15 to go and filter. So the filter will flow like water into the product table. I'm sorry, from the product table into the what? Into the sales table. Then it will now use that filter that you have done on iPhone 15, look for it inside the sales table, then now filter the sales table. That is single direction. The next one is the bi direction. In this one, the arrow is pointing both ways. If you look at it, one is going like this, one is going like this. What is that telling you? Is that product can filter fact table, and the product can filter sales, and sales can also filter products. Somebody is asking a question. One from the dimension table to many in the fact table. Yes, that's what I'm talking about, Mr. Babayemi Michael. So now in the bi-direction, which I've put in red again, because yes, there are some times that we use it, but you need to make sure you use it with what? With caution. You use it with what? With caution. Which is what? When the arrow is pointing in both directions, which means you can filter your flow in both directions. It sounds very, very useful, but from a professional and experienced point of view, it is a trap. Because bi-directional filters can cause something that we call circular dependency, or sometimes unexpected total, or sometimes it can even give you performance problem. So the golden rule is that what? Always start with a single direction. Always start with a single direction. Let your filter flow from the dimension table inside the fact table. Never the other way around, unless and until you have a specific reason. That is when you have it to go from your fact table to now filter your dimension table. Is that understood, everybody? You are going to see it in action. No, don't worry yourself, because we are going to be doing the tables now. That is the next thing we are going to be doing. So we are going to be building that table that we are doing what that I work with. So, but you need to understand all these concepts properly. I hope everybody is following me. If you are following me, can I see F in the chat box? FF in the chat box. If you are following me, can I see FF in the chat box? Perfect. TK. Okay, so now I'm going to be sharing my Power BI screen. Can I get a confirmation that everybody can see my Power BI screen? Good. Now, this is my Power BI screen based on what we did last week. Mr. Babayemi, if you can't see our screen, why don't you log out and log back in? Because if you don't see everything we're talking about since, now is the time for you to see. So try quickly log out and log back in. So, while we're waiting for him, so last class we discussed about in our data modeling class, we brought in the Niger phone shop table, isn't it? And that table has transaction ID, has date, customer name, customer phone number, city, gender, product name, product category, product brand, customer, cost, sales, selling price, quantity, revenue, branch, this and that, isn't it? So two things to do. I think I also need to open my Excel file. Just 1 minute. I need to open up my Excel file because I'm going to be using that Excel file to actually explain the concept. I'm going to be using the Excel file to explain the concept to us. So I just shared my Excel file screen. Can I get a confirmation that everybody can see my screen? Perfect. So how do we do this? I prepared a document to share with everybody on how to convert a flat file to a split file using the example that we have. So let's first take up the column names. The easier method is to take the column names, Control C it, open a new tab, then you transpose the results here. So when you transpose the result, we ask ourselves how many tables do we want? We want 3 tables, isn't it? We want the sales table, which is going to be, you ask yourself, what are the dimension table and what are the facts table? So the facts table, you can say we have the facts table. Facts table is going to be what? It's going to be the sales table, right? But your dimension tables are going to be tables about the product, are going to be table about the what? The product table and the what? And the customer table. Customer table. Product and customer. Now, these are the what? These are the um, these are the major stuffs that I want to do. So I'm just going to give this yellow, and I'm going to give this one green. Good. Now, let's start with the dim table. Which of these is in line with the what? With the customer. So let's come here. We'll not come here, we'll say customer. Then we'll come here, we'll say product. So for customer will surely have customer name, isn't it? So let's bring it. Customer name. In fact, you can just copy all of this. Customer name, customer this, up to customer gender, isn't it? Then we'll come here, we paste it. Then we have product. In product, what do we have? Product name, category, cost price, and selling price. You copy it, you bring it. Right? Then the last one is going to be your sales table. So your sales table now, what is going to be in sales table? The sales table is going to have just the remaining stuffs that we have. The transaction ID, the date, one, then all this. This one did not copy me. Oh, I cut it. I copied it, I need to cut it. Good. So then we have revenue, all these other ones. They are not going to come as the transaction table. So this is how you will do it on a normal day. Now this one is just for your sketch. Are you following? When you are working on it. So you can see your customer, everything that is only related to customer here is their name, their phone number, their city, and their gender. In this place, related to product is only the name of the product, the category of the product, the brand of the product, the cost price of that product, and how much we want to sell the product. The selling price and cost price is not on sales. The selling price and cost price is for the product. Some of you make that error in your assignment as well. So I remember that, and that's why I said I have to do this again, because I remember that some of you made that error in your what? In your assignments. Then we have the sales table. The sales table has your transaction ID, your date, your quantity, your revenue. and also. Now this is the initial. And I said, okay, now how do I connect my customer to my sales? How do I know that customer Abdullah Bankole here but is the owner of transaction ID 1? You will now say, oh, okay, let us add a new column. And what is that new column? A primary key. So the PK is now going to be what? Instead of customer name, we are going to say it as what? Customer ID. Then same thing for products. The product will have its own primary key. What is the primary key for the product? The product will also have what? Product ID. Your transaction already has transaction ID. But these two also must be inside this table so that you'll be able to connect what we have here to what we have here. That way, we're not going to have two foreign keys, customer ID and product ID. They will not come. So these ones are not going to be your foreign key, your foreign key. Are we following everybody? Are we following? So our three main entities are our customer entity, our product entity, and our sales transaction entity. So your customer, we have the name of the customer, the phone number of the customer, the city of the customer, the gender of the customer, and what? The primary key of the customer, which is the customer ID. Then our product entity, we have the product name, the product category, the product brand, the cost of the product, and the selling price of that product, and an ID for the product. Then our transaction table, our sales table, which is our fact table now, the bigger table, is going to have the transaction ID, the date, quantity, revenue, branch, sales rep, and payment method. Then foreign keys to connect to these two tables, which are the customer ID and the what? And the product ID. Are we following everybody? If you are following, can I see FF in the comment section? Good. So this is what? This is just a baseline. This is a what? A baseline. Now you know that to do this now, we are working in Power BI. So I'm not going to do it in Excel. I'm going to do everything for us in Power BI now. How we are going to form this this stuff that we have here now. How we are going to do it now. We are going to do it together in Power BI. For everybody, let's go to Power BI. So for us to do that, we have to go back to our what? To our Power Query. So we'll go to transform data. So when I go to transform data is going to load for us our Power Query section. I hope you remember Power Query. I'm very sure everybody remembers Power Query. So let it load. Good. So we have the Power Query section where we have all these tables. So how do we convert a flat file to a what? To a what? A flat file to a what do we call it now? To dimension and fact tables. So now this is where it gets very, very interesting. The first thing you need to do is for you to come to this one, right click and say what? And say duplicate. Right click and duplicate. Mr. Bankole, why are we duplicating? Now we know that everything that we want to do is from the facts table, isn't it? This facts table. But we need to also be able to future proof. What do I call it? Future proof. Future proof means that in case there is an addition to this table somewhere in the future, we don't need it us to be looking for it up and down. We want it to update itself automatically. So far that very big table is going to keep on being updated. In this place, since we have already duplicated it, it will also do what? It will also do what? It will also increase. Are you following me? Whatever happen, whatever increment occurs in this flat table up here will also occur in this one. Is that understood? If you understand, can I see you for understood in the comment section now before I proceed? You don't understand? Okay. So I said this. I said the first thing is that you duplicate what you have here so that you have the same thing that you had in your flat table. You have same everything. But what is the intrinsic value in what I just said? Is that because you know that your fact table, your flat file, is going to be increasing in number. For example, we have around 2,000 rows. Next year, if we had next year data or the remaining part, okay, is up to this is May. So let's say we have June, July. We want to add June, July data. You know, it's going to be added to the big table so that you don't come and be disturbing yourself to be looking for back and forth. Once it has been added to this flat table here, because this is a duplicate of that addition that was added to it automatically reflects in the new one. Are you following? So everything duplicate is that everything you have done, all the apply steps that you might have done in this place, all that apply step is going to come as well. That is duplicate. Reference, if you use reference, because there's reference there, reference will only start from, do you see where reference starts from? Reference starts from the last, what's it called? The last, what do we call this thing? The last step that you apply. So if there is a change, if there's, you know, it stopped at change type. So if there's another thing after change type, it will not affect in reference. So that's just what you should know. So usually for case like this, we use what? We use duplicate. Good. Now let's quickly go on. So that because we don't waste, we have less time. So now the first one we're going to be doing is we're going to be creating the dim table together. Okay, Oluchi, you have raised your hand. Talk to me.
Yeah, Mr. Bankole, the duplicate and the referencing. Please,
Mm,
can you take it again? I don't really understand the two, like the best one to go for when you want to do your dimension tables.
okay. Now, duplicate versus referencing in Power BI in Power Query. Let us quickly clarify those concepts again. But I think we discussed about it some times back, but no problem. Let's just do that. So in Power Query, right, both duplicate and reference allows us to be able to create new query based on an existing one. But the way they are handled by the M code is fundamentally different. Are you following? So when we have duplicate is what we call the independent clone, which means when you right click and you say select duplicate, Power Query creates a complete independent exact copy of the original query at that specific moment. Are you following? But reference, on the other hand, when you select reference, Power Query will create a new query that points directly to the final output of the what? Of the original query. So, what is the best use case for duplicates? The best use case for duplicates is, let's say, um, when we need a sandbox to test. Let's use sandbox, like a shallow place to test something. Are you following? Or when we need a similar starting point, but we want the two queries to evolve completely independently. And that is why what we want to do, we want it to evolve independently, because as your flat file is evolving, your dim customer must be evolving as well. Your dim product must be evolving, must be increasing as well. But for reference, on the other hand, this one allows us to create a staging query. Are you following? So it's not really um how will I put it now? So we use it for staging queries, right? Where we do renaming, fixing data type, and stuffs like that. Are you following? But then it is not like we using the what? We using the duplicates. Are you following me? So now we have this one now. We have this flat
Mr.
bar.
Bankole, your voices is breaking.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. So we have the Niger phone shop flat 2. Let's rename this to um dim customer. When I put dim in front of something, it means dimension. Are you following? Dimension. So we say dim customer. That is, we have dim customer table. I can duplicate this one too again. Right click, duplicate. We can call this one dim product, which is the product table. So now let's start with what? Let's start with customer table. Let's start with what? Let's start with customer table. So we have duplicated the flat file for us to have customer table. So we need to now look for only the tables, the columns that relate to customers. So to not even give yourself a headache at all, just come to this place that says choose column and you click choose column. When you click choose column, it will list out all the columns that you need, that you have, and you just uncheck, you first uncheck all and choose the one you need. In this case, I need, if I can just come here and say customer, for example, because everything customer has customer. Simple. And I will say okay, pin. And when I do that, boom, no more anything. All the customers are showing, isn't it? But we cannot stop here. Oh. The next thing for us to do is to do what? Is to now remove duplicates. Because a Rotimi Ogundele can have the same phone number, which is from Abuja, and the same gender. Are you following? In fact, I can say, okay, oh, I want to arrange this in capital letter if I have the time. I can say, I can arrange everything in this thing. Can you see now? For example, look at this guy, this person. Adeize Adebayo. Adeize Adebayo. You can see Ibadan, Ibadan, male, male. But this Adeize Adebayo is from Abuja, female. This one is from Enugu, female. Although they have the same number, which is something, but then still. Now look at all this now. So we need to remove duplicates. So to do that, you can just come here and say what? Remove duplicates. And when you remove duplicates, you can see that one that has Ibadan, Ibadan, and this thing is no more here. So we are sure that even though they have the same name, they are different people entirely. Can you see everybody? Now, how do we now add the customer ID? Because what we want to add is a new column. So what do we do? What we want to add is a new column. What do we do? We go to add column. Some of us can say, okay, Mr. Bankole, we can add a index column. I will say custom. What is the starting index? I can say cost 001. Now this one cannot go. Why? Because the index wants it to be in numbers. We want it to be in numbers. We want it to be in numbers. So how do we now add it, everybody? Can anybody give me a try? Anybody? Anybody? Anybody has an idea? Let me see.
Data type, sir, right?
What do you say?
To change the data type, sir, because we're in the index column.
We should do what?
So I said to check the data type before doing the index column.
We should check the data type and pick the and do what and pick
The
um
index column.
the index column. I should do what?
Well,
I
but
didn't get what
Mr.
you said. I didn't actually get what you said.
You can since you have removed the duplicate, you can start the index from one.
Good.
Then
I
every
can
other
start
person.
from one, yes.
Yes, sir.
Then as it's increasing, but this is not what we want. We want it to be customer one, customer two. So what do you think we should add again?
You create a new column entirely for it, I guess.
Okay, so
Then
yeah.
link it.
Okay, so we have a new column. We can say customer ID, right? And then we can say is equal to cost, CUST minus so plus plus what? Plus the index. See what I did? Okay, let's see what will happen. Error. Why do we have an error? So because I use plus, um is taking it as an operator, right? So hold on, let's adjust. Um, in fact, you can even just remove the minus here and just say listen, but that gave us an error still. Okay, so what do I do? I use and let's see. Hmm, hmm, hmm. This thing is wanting me to do something I don't want to do. Okay. Hmm. Since our this stuff costs is a text and this one is a number, that is why it is not actually doing what it is not bringing them together because you cannot join a text directly to a number. Are we following everybody? Two ways to do it. Because I know this is going to be increasing, so let me first the index is going to be increasing. I can maybe change the type to a text sat, then add the column. Now we have everything we want. In fact, we can quickly edit this to have that stuff that we want.
So that's what I said before.
Oh, that's what you said before. Okay, good. So you can have it
Yes,
like
sir.
this. Good. Something like this. Perfect. So such that when we have a new customer, this is one to wow, it's plenty. Such that when we have a new customer, isn't it? We're going to have um, that as well. Now, if there's an update, an increase, it will be increased as well. That is that one. So we have added the customer ID now. And since we want the customer ID to always be at the front, so you can just move it to the what? Move it to the beginning. So the customer one, customer all this one becomes the what? It becomes the primary key. But there's something I want to take note. You see all this Adeze, Adebayo, Adeze, Adebayo, Adeze, Adebayo, Adeze, Adeleke. Adeze, Adebayo in three places is practically almost going to be the same person. Let us think of it like that, right? Irrespective of though, if you look at the phone numbers, they are the same as well. The city might be different because maybe the person bought it in different places. But two out of three saying male, but one is female. That should tell you something is wrong somewhere. Maybe there was an error. Maybe the person is actually a guy, and in this case, it was an error. This is how you're going to be picking it. So that will now take me back to when I removed the duplicate in this place. When I sorted, what I could have done is to just right click on this and say transform and say I can come here and remove duplicate like this. Yes. So when I remove duplicate like this, you will notice We only have one. Mr. Bankole, how did you know which one to remove in the gender? It will do a what we call fuzzy logic. Fuzzy logic in the sense that if you notice we have two male, one female. That means it's more like going to be a male. Are you following? And that is what it has used to actually do what? To choose that female and male stuff that we have there. Yes, promise, you have raised your hand.
What if the person, maybe it's actually one person, but bought, let's say, the phone in different location for two other people? I don't know.
Yeah, but in this case, if you look
The
at it,
possibility.
the phone numbers were the same.
Yes, sir.
Exactly. So the name, the phone number, and the gender was the same and everything. That other female is most likely going to be an error. And if it is not an error, you can note it out to whoever is bringing the data in and say, oh, I noticed this. Can you confirm that this person is a female or this person is a male? Do you understand? Okay, so this is actually what we should have done. Then we have others now. Now it is looking perfect. Now, Adeizi Adebayo is still just one. Adeizi Adeleke is this, and it goes on like that. Perfect. So that is us in the customer ID side. Now let's go to the product side and let's try to do the same thing. Now in the product side of things, we'll just choose, okay, somebody has raised their hands. Oluchi.
Like, sorry to cut you short. How did you reverse it? Like, you went back to the step.
Yeah, I just went back up to
How
the
did
steps. I just went back up to the steps where I think where I sorted. That's what I did.
you started a new step? How did you insert a new step?
How did I insert? It will tell me it wants to insert, then it will insert when you click accept to insert, it will insert automatically. Oluchi. Let me show you.
Oh,
See,
okay, sir.
see what happened. I have deleted that step. Hmm? Then I said right click, remove duplicate. Where is it? Remove duplicate. You see, to ask me a question, do I want to insert it? And then I'll say insert. So it will insert automatically. Yeah. So so we have our result. Good. So now let's go to our products. The product side is choose column. We choose our column to product, right? Or so we're choosing product name, product category, product brand, cost price, selling price. All these ones are the ones in what? In product. So we say okay, right? All these ones are the ones in product. So we say okay. Now, easily, what are we doing next? We can right click and remove duplicates again. Now duplicate has been removed. Then what do we do again? We add the index. We add the what? We add the index. So we add the index, same thing. Add column, index from one. Then you can make the what? You can take it to a text. Then what do we do again? We add a new column and simple is equal to what? Prod minus, then we say what? And our index. As simple as that. We have it like this. So we can call this we can name this as what? As product ID. Then we say okay. Then we can now take this and we can move it to the beginning. So we move it to the beginning now. We have our product ID. Each of them have their product IDs and everything now. You can see. Now we now go back to our flat file. So in the flat file now, so we have done, we're able to accomplish customers, We've been able to accomplish products. Now it's time for us to accomplish the facts table. So this facts table now, we know that it was plenty like this before, but we know what we need based on our Excel file that we have chosen here, isn't it? So we're not going to choose all those stuffs. So we'll now start from the beginning again. We say we know what we need. We know we go to the our home. We choose our column, right? We want our transaction ID, our date. We want our quantity, our revenue, our branch, our sales rep, and our payment method. So this is everything that we'll be doing now. Let's rename this now to what? To fact sales table. So fact sales table. So now we have our transaction ID. We have all of this. So the next thing now is how do we now bring those other ones? So that is where I will now first remove all the color. I'll still let everything be the same way it was before. So how do we now do it? What we need to do is we need to merge the fact sales table with our customer and our products. So how do we do that? To do that, we go to fact sales, we come to merge queries. When we go to merge queries, you can merge queries as new or you merge queries. So click merge queries. In this place now, you have your fact up, then we need to bring what? We need to bring our customer now, dim customer. So when you bring dim customer now, what is happening? You leave it as left outer. So what you want to do is that you want to do those that um, their name, their name and their phone number, their name and their phone number is matching their name and their phone number. Do you see it? Or you can just use name. Why? Some people will not tell you that you can say that I'm using two things to match together, isn't it? Some don't know that it's possible. That's why I'm showing you right now that it's possible. What most of us are very we are very what is it called? What we are usually very what do I do? What we know before is that we have one what is it called? We have only one we can use only one. For example, the name now and the name here, isn't it? But no, you can also use their name and their phone numbers to actually do what? To actually do the matching. You can use two things sometimes because there are sometimes that's what we need. For example, remember when we had male and female that time. So if we are going to stay on the fact that that other female was an error, or for example, if the phone number of that female, sorry, that other female was correct and the phone number was also different. Do you understand? So we are going to choose the name and the gender, for example, with maybe the phone number. So we can use three things. Yes, we can use three things. We can use three things to combine. Are you following me? That way, you can even see your match down here. Is that understood, everybody? But I will not use three things. So I'll just use the name and the phone number like this. Or let us just use the name only. So we have the names now. When we pick the name and the name, we can say okay. When we say okay, in this side now, remember we talked about data merging in our data query class, Power Query class. So I don't need everything in this table. What do I need? I only need the what? I only need the customer ID. I will say okay. It will come. I will do that same process again. Match query. I will now match it again with the what? Product this time around. So what am I matching the product? This time I want to match the product name to the what? To the product name. Are you saying? Then I will say okay. But what do I need now? The only thing I need is only the product ID. Then I will say okay. Now my table now has the product, the customer ID, the product ID. But what are the columns I don't need again? Now I don't need everything. I need the transaction, the date. I need only the quantity, revenue, branch, sales, payment method, customer ID, and product ID. Boom. Now you can see what we have now. So now I can now drag this one wherever I want it to be. So the customer ID, the product ID. So what does that tell you? It tells us the transaction, the name, the customer information, the product information, the date, the quantity that was bought, the revenue generated, the branch, the sales rep, the payment method. Can we see it now, everybody? Can everybody see it now? Are we following or we are lost?
But Mr. Bankola, you did not remove duplicates from the fact sales.
No, there cannot be duplicates. Usually, there's no there will not be duplicates in fact, because each of the transactions are unique. In fact, if you look at a transaction ID, don't you see that everything is valid 100%? No duplicates. And sometimes you might want to do that as well. I'm just assuming. Do you understand? Oluchi.
Yes, sir.
Good.
But our sales rep this thing 3% empty. Are we not going to change it?
Which one is that?
Sales reps column.
No, no, just leave that one. Those ones are not primary or foreign key. Abi?
Okay, sir.
Uh, yeah, let's continue. So from here now, we have our tables now. Everything is set. Everything is set. Now we have been able to mimic exactly what we have done in our Excel. This is the beginning of data modeling. Now we can once we are done, we close and apply, and let's see what happens. So it's going to apply. Now instead of one, we have three. But let's see what will happen when we go to the our data model viewer, because that is where the major thing is. Now this one is an error because why? It was from another table entirely. Okay, that's even work back. So let's go to data model view. Now, when we're in the data model view now, do you notice something? Let me break fact sales like this. Do you notice that it has tried to do what? It has tried to create a relationship. Can everybody see? It has tried to create a relationship between all of them, which usually is going to be wrong because what concerns products with customer? You see, saying index here, index here. But really, do we need to show the index? No. So we can go back to our oh we can go back to our Power Query. Let's go back to our transform data and we can hide it. We can even delete it. You see, we don't need the index again. So we can just right click and we can delete. So we say remove. We remove it. You know that because this thing is apply step, it will have still be working. It's just that the last step is that remove it so that it does not show. So don't ask Mr. Macaulay, but it is important. Yes, it is important, but it is the last step. We are just removing it. Did you get? But it is still it will from source down to reordered column. It is still there. It's just that after we have done reordered the column, it will be removed. So that way, this type of relationship that you saw and this illegal relationship that occur now will not occur again. Watch now. The issue has gone away. Now what do we have now? We have our star schema. What is the
Star
star?
schema.
Yes. So you can see we have our star schema now. Our product table is connecting to our sales table with what? One to many. Do you see that one to star? If you look at it, you see you have one and the angle this direction is saying one into many. And if you look at this place now, it's also saying one into many. And this is a perfect example of a what? of a um, star schema. This is how you create the relationship. But let's assume this relationship were not there before. Mr. Bankole, how are we going to do it? Because sometimes some people Power BI is not doing it. How do I do it? To do it, you click on the one you want to create. You can click on it and you can just click new what is it called? Manage relationship. Now you can click auto detect. Auto detect will auto detect any form of relationship that is there. Can you see? If I see click close now, it has automatically done it. That's method one. But I don't want it. I don't want it to auto detect. I want us to do it manually so that we can also know how we do it ourselves in case we do not do. So how do we do it? We go to dim product. We can click on dim product and fact table like this. We can right click. We can just you can say manage relationship. Then we can say new relationship. Then we say from which table now? From the customer table to the fact table. You can say automatically it has done what? It has notified you that this one is here, this one is here. It has told you the cardinality, that relation I told you, which is what? You can say many to one. Remember many to one, which I told you is the opposite of one to many, or one to one, or one to many, and many to many. It has automatically say it as many to many. Then we have the single. Single means product will filter sales. Both means product will filter sales, sales will filter product. But what I tend to always make sure it is product will filter this. When you make sure you make the relationship active, when you say save, close it. So you can see customer to what? Sales. Well, there's another one. Manage relationship, new relationship. I choose product now, product to sales. Same thing, save. As simple as that. So what have we done? We have done how to create all of these together. So does anybody
Mr.
have
Bankole, what if, Mr.
what?
Bankole, sorry for cutting you short. What if you drag and drop?
That is the third method. Thank you very much. The third method now is you can just say there's product ID here and product ID here. Perfect. There's customer ID here and customer ID here. You can see it brings out the same thing again. Then you just say okay. There's product ID here, product ID here. You bring out the same thing, you say save, and that works fine as well. But the goal is we've been able to create our star schema. Are you following me, everybody? Are we following? Do we understand? I'm sure many people want to watch this video over and over again, and I'm sure those that did not come to class today will actually miss it, isn't it? So now that is what that is how we create the from flat file into our different um, models that we have. We've also learned to create our relationship, first relationship, the second relationship. We are seeing the flow, one to many, one to many. You can see all of that. So let's quickly test it. Let's go back to our this thing. So let's create a folder. I think this one is for total revenue, isn't it? This total revenue folder is on a card. So let's go to our products now. In our product table, let's pick a product name. You can see now the product names are no more anyhow. These are the product names. Let's make it into a filter or a slicer. Now let's see. If I pick Infinix Zero, you can see that this reduced immediately. If I pick Itel A70, this reduced. If I pick Samsung Galaxy A30, can we see it? So our stuff is working fine. Is working perfectly. The revenue is changing. So that is how it works. So what just happened is very, very significant. We have been able to connect 2 or 3 tables together in Power BI. And this slicer is working because of that relationship that we have done what that we have built. And this is the foundation for every professional Power BI report. Is that understood? So that is what that is that. Now, sometimes what if we have a visual and the visual is now blank? So let me take it back to the to our slides. So we've been able to do this, we've been able to connect the table. So when do we have blank visual? So let's say you click something, your slicer, you click your slicer and nothing is happening. Because these are questions that come up. Mr. Bankole, I did it, but nothing happened. Number one, first make sure that you loaded the correct relationship. Maybe you loaded the table, but you did not go and confirm it in the model view. You have done the relationship, everything inside your Power Query, but when you loaded your data, you did not do it in your model view. So make sure you go there and confirm that everything is done properly. Or maybe you use the wrong key column. So maybe you connected the product name to product name instead of it to connect product ID to product ID. Also, maybe you have an orphaned product orphaned foreign key. Yes, there's a foreign key inside of your primary of your fact table, and that foreign key does not have any relationship in the primary key. So how do we know you are coming from that country you are coming from? And you say that you're a national of that country. How? So you need to make sure you check that as well. Then that cross filter is very, very important. Make sure that there is a relationship that you don't use cross filter, because when you're using cross filter, relationship actually exists. Your ID is matching, but the slicer did not work because the filter is flowing in the wrong direction. Are you following? The slicer is not reaching the table that you need. So adjust it from that direction. Make sure that you use your single direction, which is always from your what? Your dimension table to your what? Dimension to your fact table. And that is what? That is how that goes. That is how that that is how that does what? That is how that goes. Always make sure that it's from your what? Your dimension table to your fact table. Now, let's now talk about active and inactive relationships. Now, in Power BI, right, you can have more than one relationships between 2 tables. Are you following? In this case, not all relationship needs to be what? Active at a time. For example, a sales table and a delivery a sales table, we have a sales date and a delivery date. Now imagine we have another date table, which I'm still going to go into later. You know, we have sales date, delivery date. Now both of them can be connected to the same date table, but when 2 things are connected to one table, only one of them can be active at a time. The other is going to be inactive, and it is going to be shown in a dotted line. Are you following? So that inactive is only showing that it is existing. There's a relationship existing between these 2 tables, but it is not used by default. You can only activate it when you explicitly use the DAX function called use relationship. Are you following? But it is the active one that we have, is the active one, the active relationship that is automatically used for all your DAX measures and all your visuals. Are you following me? So that is when we use active and inactive relationship. Because you'll be noticing one time that you have some places, for example, when it was In the Power BI this thing earlier, there was a time the former one when this one and this one were connected earlier, there was that dotted line. That is whenever you see a dotted line, just know that it is an what? It is an inactive relationship. Good. What else do I have here? Yeah, so the debugging challenge, I think we've already done but this is just to for us to go through our database, our data model again. Are you following? So we need to confirm whenever if there is an issue, you take it through these four things. Is there a relationship between your tables? If yes, is there a cross filter there? If no, which side is the one? Which side is the many? Does the relationship connect to the right column? These are the four things we use when we are having any data model issue. So what are you looking for? You are making sure that a relationship exists, but the cross direction is set to a single to flowing, that is a single from the sales into the product instead of it to go the other way around. So this was me trying to make sure that we had an error, but then there is no time for us to be doing all of that. So that's why I'm not talking about. I'm not talking about. I believe everybody we have all understood how it's done. Then I wanted to introduce us to a website called dbdiagram.io, but I think um, time is not time is not our friend right now. So we have a dbdiagram io. So the website is what we can use to um, create a diagram. You can see this type of diagram. So it is free to use. So we can create a diagram with it. We use it to create a schematic diagram like this. It's not going. I'm clicking, it's not clicking. What's going on? Okay, let me click play to appear. Good. So you can see. If you look at, I don't know, can anybody see my screen? Once I put my this thing on this thing, can anybody see my screen? I want you
Yes,
to,
sir.
if you notice that when I put my skin on this, you see that something is moving, isn't it? That thing that is moving is that stuff I told you about earlier. The flow, I'm telling you, the way stuff is flowing from this line is flowing into this place. It's flowing from this into this place. This is that flow I was talking to you about earlier. Are you following me, everybody? Now, if you look at this one now, this one even have two. You can see it has two relationships. Abi, did you not notice that it has two? One of them is going to be what? One of them is going to be um, active, the other might
Inactive.
be inactive. So that is that. So you can use this diagram. So maybe you have a competition or you are working on your you want to do your report online. You want to show it on LinkedIn, and you need to show about your data model, and you don't want to show the one that you have in Power BI like this. Do you understand? You can take the plane to come and do everything in this place. It's going to be very nice. You can even show this stuff. You put all of them together. And that thing is, you don't need to worry yourself too much, because I know that some of us, when we see all this code that we have in this place, I say, Mr. Bankole, the code is too much. I know, but you don't need to worry yourself. You can use your AI tool, copy your the way you have done it in Excel here, right? Make sure everything is correct. You cannot take it to your AI that you need it to write your code that you want to use in DB diagram stuff, and you just copy and paste it, and it will have everything for you automatically instead of you stressing yourself to be doing it one after the other from the beginning. So I wanted to introduce DB diagram to everybody as as well. So let's go back. Here's the slide. So yeah, so it is actually free. It's a free browser. You are not installing everything. Just type everything you want to type in plain text. It draws the diagram automatically for you. You can draw the relationship yourself, and you can export it as PNG or PDF for you to work with your team or you want to share your social media platforms. So yes, there's supposed to be a competition for everybody for us to do everything I have done myself. So I'm very sure everybody is going to do it again. So the competition is more or less like an assignment. You have it all done and then you send your screenshots. In fact, your assignment should be done on your DB diagram. Do it on DB diagram, screenshot, then export it as a file. then send it to the WhatsApp community. Don't send Power BI, send it on DB diagram, or do the two, both Power BI and DB diagram, then send it to us on the WhatsApp community. And yes, this is going to be the end of our class today. Wow, I think we almost spent 2 hours in class today. That's something. So see everybody next week. Thank you for joining the class. So next week we're not going to go into star schema fully. We're going to break down star schema, in fact, in ways things you've never heard about star schema before. We'll talk about it, right? So um your assignment for next Tuesday, aside from the one I gave you, is to open your model, which is this new model now. You add the slicer from DB customer. Does it filter? If yes, if no, then what you do is sketch a star schema of this. Okay, so this is the assignment. Now look at it. You have to search a schema for this database: students, courses, attendance, lecturers, and dates. So the name of the database is school. It has a table for students. You are going to fill it. It has another table for courses, a table for attendance, a table for lecturers, and a table for dates. So I want you all to create a star schema of that as well. So post your sketch as well in the comment section in the WhatsApp group, and we're going to go from there. Our next class is supposed to be on Thursday, which is going to be Eid for me here in my country where I am. So that means I might not be available for class on Tuesday. That's number one. Number two is that designer, our designer, Power BI designer, Power BI visualization lecturer, she reached out that we should have another training session where we're going to do a full design from beginning to end. And I said, why not? That I will send the assignment that I gave to you earlier, which some of you have submitted up to now. So the real estate project, I sent it to her as well. So she's saying,
Work in progress.
yes, I know it's work in progress. So I'm bringing sheet code for you now. I'm bringing sheet code for you now. So, so the sheet code that I'm bringing for you now is that she's going to come and solve it for you, but it does not stop you from doing your own. No. You know, our own is just our own perspective, isn't it? Our own is just our own perspective. So she's going to come and do it for you, right? So when we were discussing, we discussed about us doing it on a I think Friday. Was it Friday or Saturday? Friday. Let me quickly check. Shamaka. Friday. So we're thinking to do it Friday evening on our time, if that is okay with everybody. So Friday evening, if that is okay for us and there is no clash, so we are looking at Friday evening. So that is something I wanted to say as well. So, but in case when I conclude it, I'm going to let you all know so that we can actually work on it together. Yes, Oluchi, it's going to be a design class, not this is a design, a full design class.
Mr. Bankole, sorry, the last exercise that was in this can you I want to screenshot it, sir. Or are you going to send it in the WhatsApp before us? There was
Which
this the slide,
which part?
the
Let me
last
see.
slide before this one.
This one.
The DB exactly.
Okay, you've done this one, Nabi. Okay, you can do it. It's what I did in the
Oh, oh,
video.
you have not done it.
It's what I did in the video now. We built the relationship sales to customer. We built the relationship sales to products. We created a total revenue measure and we put it on a card. And we had a slicer. I mean, is this not it here?
Yes. You
Yeah,
just
it's
did
what
it.
we did
Okay.
here. Yeah. So this is the homework. But I also had another one. I said you should use DB diagram to do the diagram that we did today, as well as this one that you have in this place. So you can screenshot it. Yes, Madam Promise.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, sir, for today. So you said the deadline was 31st. So we were thinking, or rather, I assumed that after 31st, we would have submitted the deadline. Then you said we'll do a presentation. We'll share our
No, no,
screen.
no. It does not
So I was
stop.
thinking,
Don't disturb yourself. Oh. It does not stop
okay,
anything. No. You will still submit on that 31st. You will still do your presentation. No.
so
Did you
we'll get a
understand?
proof.
Uh-huh. But what is going on for you now is more like a sheet code for you. You are going to see a professional
Okay,
do it in our own way. Do you understand? So anything you want to
okay,
quickly
thank
steal from her, you steal it. Too.
you. Definitely,
Do you
thank
understand?
you.
Anything you want to learn, you learn it while she's doing it, and you ask questions. This time around, ask questions. So because by June, I want to be seeing people putting on their start on their what's it called, on their YouTube. I'm sorry, on their LinkedIn, Facebook, showing what we've done so far. Is that understood?
Yes, sir.
Aha,
Yes, sir.
good.
Thank
So thank you very much. Any other question? Any
Mr.
question?
Boko,
Yes.
sorry, the next slide I want to screenshot. Or will you send it for us in the WhatsApp group?
Which next slide?
The green one, the assignment.
Is there now? Can you see it now?
Thank you, sir.
Okay. You're welcome, ma'am. Okay, with that, we've come to the end of today's class. Thank you very much, everyone, for staying tuned from the beginning of the session to the end. I believe it was productive. I believe you learned a lot about um, converting flat file to schema to dimension and fact table. So thank you very much for staying tuned. Next class, we are going to be moving to learn about star schema, the master class of star schema, to do quite a lot of fun. It's going to be interesting. So for those of us watching this on YouTube, please don't forget to comment, like, share. If you're interested in joining us on our WhatsApp community, just comment in the comment section and the link will be shared to you immediately. Thank you very much, everyone, for staying tuned, and bye bye for now. See you next class. Bye.